Here are the big LGBTQ stories in election 2024. Today may be the most difficult day the American LGBTQ+ community has ever faced, the day after a presidential election. Shockwaves resonate across every LGBTQ gayborhood in America, including Wilton, Manors, and Fort Lauderdale. Unlike Hillary Clinton in 2016, today's results seem so much deeper and more permanent in broad rejection of democracy, anti-women, anti-minority, anti-diversity, and an overall sea change for America. Here are the big picture stories. First, Trump is the first Republican in more than 2 decades that wins the national popular vote. In fact, Trump was far stronger even after all his legal challenges for the November 5th, 2024 election than his results in 2020. There are more than 1,300 counties in the USA, and Trump improved his voting numbers in more than 90% of those counties. Trump increased Hispanic support by a staggering 6%. Even more shocking, Trump increased young, under 30, support by 7%. Other significant issues may show why there was such strong Trump support. 34% of Harris voters said they were falling behind financially, but that number doubled with Trump voters to 63%. Overwhelmingly, the economy was the number one issue that led to support of Trump, and immigration was number 2. 75% of Trump voters said that this election put an end to legacy media. Florida was particularly difficult for LGBTQ supporters. Trump won Florida by the largest number in this millennium. Trump won by nearly 1.5 million votes. Activists told Queer News Tonight that they were not surprised South Florida's largest county, Miami-Dade, became red. But they were surprised by the huge number to make it solidly red. LGBTQ+ candidates largely went down in defeat, including trans candidates Nathan Bruemmer and Ashley Brundage. There were some rays of hope. Nationally, Tammy Baldwin held her Senate seat in Wisconsin, while Florida's first Black woman, Michele Rayner, held her Florida House seat. History was made when Carla Smith became Florida's first ever Latino state senator. Fort Lauderdale's out gay mayor Dean Trantalis and out commissioner Steve Glassman held their seats. And a noteworthy state house race played out in the national spotlight on the fabled South Beach, Miami Beach. Equality Florida's Joe Saunders challenged incumbent Republican Fabian Basabe. Basabe defeated Saunders 51 to 47%. Now, I'm just going to make a stupid statement right now. A lot of conservatives that I've overheard are always clamoring about, if you want to make money, if you want success, build it on your own shoulders. It's all about you. We don't need to help or support or give money to those who don't want to work for it. But then you are vying and voting and rooting for the man that's going to get you more money. That don't make no sense to me. If you want to make your money, make your money. Don't let finance be the reason you are rooting or voting for this man, because you can make your own money, right? At least that's what you're saying. To me, that's what I'm hearing. Also, I'm hearing that on the blue side, or the liberal side, why, if you're looking at this and you didn't vote, in the comments below, please tell me, Bonnie Builder, why didn't you vote? What was the reason? You couldn't find a ride because there were resources. Even Lyft was giving away free rides to the polling stations. You couldn't decide. I mean, it's one or the other, a 50-50 split. You didn't think you had to. You didn't think it would matter. Clearly it matters. The last few elections have proven your vote does matter. So I need you to explain in the comments down below why, if you did not vote, please explain to us why you didn't. I just want to have a chat, a quick conversation.
I wanted to just focus on particularly on the Latino community, and in South Florida, in the county where I live, in Miami-Dade County, but I mean nationwide, because after what we've seen from Donald Trump and his campaign, his rhetoric against immigrants and minorities, and particularly lately, more recently, about Puerto Ricans who are Americans and treated as trash, as garbage, that some Latinos still find a reason to vote for this person is beyond my comprehension. I just don't understand how he could increase 6% his Latino vote after he has shown you his true colors. That's not going to change. He's always been like that since the first time in 2015 when he came down that escalator at Trump Tower saying that Mexicans were rapists and criminals. He hasn't changed. So how do we analyze an increase in 6% of the Latino vote is beyond me. However, I do believe also that they play their strength pretty strongly when it comes to particularly Cuban radio and Latin radio in the Latin communities, and playing the boogeyman of the communism that is coming in the form of the Democrats. And these somehow the Democrats have not been able to work against. It happens elections tras elections, and we don't seem to address the power of the Latin media and addressing this issue, particularly when it comes to equating communism and socialism with the Democrats. And they seem to get away with it elections after election. So, and I'm not putting it on Kamala Harris, her campaign, Joe Biden, the same way. We need to do something about this. This cannot continue happening, and then you just address the Latino community the last month before the election. This cannot happen. It has to be work way before, during the 4 year prior to elections. Latinos are not one block. You have to understand that we come from different realities, different socioeconomical status, different even racial backgrounds. We are not the same block that you think we are. So what works in Texas or in California doesn't work in Florida. You have to understand that we need to be addressed accordingly and with time, and a lot of work has to be put into this for things to change.
But yes to everything you're saying, but the racism within the Latino community
Correct.
is just as awful Correct. As it is in the white community against non-whites.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that a lot of non-brown Americans don't understand, right? Because we kind of lump brown people into the same category.
Because we think it's a block.
And so that's how the Democrats are, or that's why the Democrats are failing, and that's why the Republicans are succeeding. Because the Democrats, we haven't been able to get a hold on the term communism since McCarthy, right? It was totally taken away from any kind of reasonable conversation with McCarthy, and we've never ever been able to bring it back around to being, okay, well, what McCarthy was talking about wasn't necessarily the same communism that exists everywhere else in the world or at different parts of the world. And so all you got to do is say a trigger word. All you got to do is play into someone's racism about another community that you're familiar with, and all of a sudden now you're afraid, now you're ignorant enough to vote for the guy who's gonna lie to you and pretend that he's gonna.
But racism is not strange to Latin America.
No, and that's what I'm saying.
This exists in Latin America until we understand that we come to this country and those things are not left behind. We come with those hang-ups, and we need to understand, and politicians and their campaigns need to understand that there is racism within the Latino community, and we need to address that accordingly. We can't just think that because, oh, you're Latino, so, and not to put anybody down, but, Latinos that come from, Mexico, Central America, and even within Mexico, there are Latinos that come with, rich Mexicans and poor Mexicans, black Latinos, white Latinos, but we don't address that accordingly. And then we just wait until the last minute and then just say some words in Spanish and just it's not going to work.
But what I'm saying is that the Republicans capitalize on that. Why do you think it's the Haitians that are eating all the cats and dogs?
Right.
It's because if you're from Latin America, you can say, oh, I don't like the Haitians anyway.
Boom.
Yeah, but somehow the radio, because radio is very powerful in the Latino community.
Okay.
The Republicans have found the way to indoctrinate through radio in South Florida, and it's the same in California, in Texas. Latin radio is a powerful tool to them. How is that possible that it has not been a powerful tool to Democrats?
Right. These corny commercials that we see on TV all the time, they're working.
Yeah.
We may laugh at them and be like, what the hell is this? It's ridiculous. It's working on people, which is why they come in droves. That's why they keep pushing them. That's why we see them constantly. They may be corny to us and silly to us, but on the opposition, they are working. And that's why they're doing that. And on our side, we try to come in with reason and logic and stuff that we should be coming in with, but they don't want to hear that.
And those people that are escaping escaping communism in Cuba or in Venezuela, or, I'm Venezuelan, and, I feel that, I'm put in that same group. You come here and then somehow they sell you that this is the same thing. I live here for 30 years. I've seen, don't say it, but I've been here through Bill Clinton. I've been here through Barack Obama, 2 terms, and Joe Biden. And I haven't seen any socialism, communism coming through to America, but somehow they buy into it. And believe me, if something is positive about the Cuban community, is they vote. They mobilize. They're not staying home. They are not going to make the same mistake they made in Cuba. So when it's time to vote, they're going to go and vote. But guess what? They have been indoctrinated to voting for the boogeyman, the communism. And then they are going to make sure that they bring everybody to vote. And they do. And the Venezuelans are following pretty much closely with them too.
How do you feel?
To complement what everyone here said, there are 2 things. I think one of the things we need to do is encourage all of our cyber or computer tech people to really, in our community, LGBT plus community and allies, to really get a strong hold and be present with the evolution of artificial intelligence or AI. It scares the hell out of me what the potential is. Look at the propaganda. We had a candidate saying they're eating the dogs and cats in Ohio, and people were, I hate to say, eating it up, but that's literally what it was. But, we need to empower ourselves, not just, beyond what we traditionally do. We have very many intelligent people. We've had people who are inventors. I believe we had a person during, and I can't think of his name, so forgive me. We had an inventor during World War II who invented code.
Turing.
Thank you.
Alan Turing.
And then after that, he was kind of just shuffled off into a corner. We can't let that happen now. We need to empower ourselves, empower all of our people, and capitalize on all of our collective strengths, even more so. So artificial intelligence is something that I think we need to strongly look at. The possibilities can be great if it's used appropriately, but if it's used for evil in the Republican Party or other factions, it can be very detrimental. The other thing I want to say to people who may be watching, I have family who unfortunately voted for the other side, and not here in Wilton Manors, but we had many conversations, and I want to say, I love you, but I think the one thing you need to think about is if the things you promised wouldn't start happening, I hope you have our back and you change your mind. Don't say that, Donald Trump loves all the gays and lesbians and trans. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care. He's playing to all the people out there that support him, and he'll do anything to sell his soul just to, be in power. So I hope you have our back, and, to the other people who voted for him, and you have friends who are LGBT plus or family, that you have their back, and, support us if anything changes. I don't want to be morbid, but you look at what happened during the Holocaust. You talk about, first they came for this one and then that one. I like to think that that's not going to happen. And again, I'll go back. I challenge you, President Trump, to making our country united. And please don't turn it into a company. When you converted the post office into a hotel, I thought that was stretching it from the White House.
Yeah, that's stupid. All right, sorry, go ahead.
But anyhow, there'll be a McDonald's at the entrance.
Exactly.
But seriously, I challenge you to what you said and to hold your word. I hope that by the grace of God that you survived 2 assassination attempts, that you've learned
your lesson, or learned that
alleged assassination attempts, that you understand the value of all human lives, and that you truly bring our country together, and that we become a worldwide leader in the world, and that we can be great as a country, but also lead the world in peace and prosperity.
Larry, until we're here for the next election. Ty, go ahead.